So this is Alan Scott, and the biggest change that's occurred over the last couple of hours since the morning briefing is now have a tornado watch in effect until midnight. We are studying tropical storm conditions along the coastline, as we told you yesterday was going to happen. That we'd first see them on the coastline as the pressure gradient between Irma and the high pressure system to the north got squeezed, and those conditions will gradually move inland, and then also from this up from the south as the actual wind envelope from Irma starts to move over the area. So everything that we're seeing right now, Jacksonville Beach, St. Augustine, the flooding over by the fort, all of that is just a nor'easter being squeezed by Irma. We've had a 62 mile per hour wind gust at Volano Beach so far. So, you know, pretty significant conditions already across the area, and that's before the tropical storm even comes in. Track forecast has shifted a little bit to the east. The good news is we are seeing increased wind shear across the northern part of the state, which should further weaken the system as it comes on in. It's not nearly as well organized in satellite imagery as it was yesterday at this period of time, so that's somewhat good. And hopefully we're seeing a hurricane that has peaked prior to its landfall. Primary period of impacts remains the same, late today through Monday, with conditions improving from the south to the north Monday afternoon and Monday night. These are the watches and warnings that are currently in effect across the region. Really, those haven't changed in the last couple of hours. This is the official track from the National Hurricane Center, and you can see now they have it making landfall as a 92 or 90 or 95 mile per hour hurricane near Rosewood and the Cedar Keys area at 8 a.m. on Monday. So that has significant implications for the winds in the western part of our counties. This is the 58 mile per hour or greater and hurricane force wind probabilities. And you can see that we're probably not going to see sustained hurricane force winds along the east coast and all the way from Trail Ridge eastward for the most part. But we will see strong tropical storm force winds in that area, and of course we're starting to see that already along the Atlantic coast. But when we start getting into the western portions of our area, that's indeed where we're most likely to see hurricane force winds and also strong tropical storm force winds for a longer duration period of time. So these are the earliest reasonable onset time of the arrival of tropical storm force winds, as well as the tropical storm force wind probabilities. And you can see that late this afternoon all the way into tonight is when we can see the earliest onset of tropical storm conditions. And then the most reasonable onset of tropical storm force conditions, the most likely time, is over the course of the night tonight for all areas into Monday morning in southeast Georgia. So as far as the wind threat is concerned, okay, we still have a little bit of extreme in the southwestern portion of our area for Gilchrist County and also Marion County. We have Ben down in the Marion County EOC. We have Cindy in the Alachua County EOC. I believe she's been working with Gilchrist County. So that's all well covered. We're going to leave that be. We also have a high risk everywhere to the southwest of this line. So basically, really from about Trail Ridge westward, to give it just a quick general point. What does this mean? This does not mean everywhere in there is going to see hurricane winds. It doesn't even mean that we're going to see major hurricane force winds in the southwestern portion of Marion County. It says that the potential is there. You certainly should be prepared for those conditions in those areas. And I'm going to let Ben and Cindy take care of those guys on a local level. This is the storm surge threat, which continues across our area. I would also say 3 to 5 feet on the Swanee River and the Wilcox area is still a possibility. Even though we don't have you in the warning, I would still not let my guard up on that as the storm goes by you tomorrow. Flooding on the St. Johns River. Angie is down at the St. Johns County EOC. I'm sure she can handle that quite well, but for everyone else's information, we are coming up again at the Main Street Bridge, coming up pretty close to the time of high tide. And you can see we're coming up again into the minor flood stage with this tide, and this is just going to get worse over the next 2 tide cycles. This is the situation at Racy Point in Palatka, and the Palatka tide level, I should say. And basically, the key that's very, very important to what's going on at Racy Point and at the Buckman Bridge is the high water levels that are down in that area are the water that's going to be pushed up into Jacksonville from the strong southerly winds as the hurricane moves to our west. Along the coastline, looking at the green circle right there and the green line, that is the residual, that is the actual storm surge. And so far, we're right in where we're looking for, 2 to about 4 feet of storm surge. You know, maybe we might get into the 3 to 5 feet. Not looking for anything as bad as Matthew in the St. Augustine area, but certainly we're seeing strong northeaster flooding in the streets near the old fort and near the Bridge of Lions. Certainly nothing we haven't seen outside of tropical systems before, but not exactly the normal situation either. So as far as our surge is concerned, once again, these our numbers have not changed significantly since the last briefing. As far as the tornado threat is concerned, for the course of the day today, you can see the predominant tornado threat is for the Florida East Coast, and that does go down a little bit as you go inland. As we get into Monday, SBC has a slight chance of tornadic activity all the way up into the north portion of the Georgia area of our responsibility. And I'm a little surprised that these are that low. I really would have expected them to have gone with at least enhanced or moderate. And I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see some increase in that over the course of the night tonight. I think maybe one of the things they may be thinking about is that with the nor'easter going on in this area and some cooler, drier air across this region, that possibly that's going to limit the available energy. This is the tornado watch that we have in effect right now through midnight. Again, guys, I think just about everybody's going to be under tornado watches, probably for the duration of the event through the day tomorrow. This is the tornado threat as we see it for our area at this point, so elevated across the Swanee Valley, moderate along the coast. One of the reasons it's elevated across the Swanee Valley is, you know, the general consensus is that you don't see much tornadic activity in the inner core of a hurricane, but, you know, given that this one's going ashore, I wouldn't be surprised to see us pull that moderate level back in toward the Swanee Valley. Rainfall so far, you can see a large area along the coast in northern St. Johns County with 3 to 5 inches of rain. We've got 2 to 4 inch swath that's got all the way in through Middleburg. And then again some 2 to 3 inch swaths down in the Palatka area and by Palm Coast. And remember, that's just the start of rainfall. We still got a good 7 to 10 inches to go. So with that in mind, we do have a flood watch in effect for all areas, and we do have a high risk of rainfall flooding threat across most of the area, with an extreme risk in the area where the northeaster has dumped some very, very heavy rainfall. This is what we're looking for in general rainfall totals. Guys, please let me emphasize once again on this call, I can't tell you that your county is going to get 12.59 inches of rain from this. We're just not that good, guys. The best we can tell you right now is 7 to 10 inches general rainfall across the area, and then locally higher amounts. The one-day excessive rainfall outlook still continues to show a high risk of excessive rainfall, and you would expect that with a tropical system coming up from the south. Well, I do want to point out the rivers right now. So far, all of our main stem rivers are in pretty good shape, but we're starting to see some response now here in the Alligator Creek area and in Bradford County and Union County, and we actually popped record rainfall for the Alligator Creek big gauge. Don't get too excited about that. That gauge was put in 2012, so it missed Debbie. The other thing I want to point out is right here, all these guys that are popping into moderate flood and minor flooding and even the alert stage, these are all coastal gauges, so these are basically tidally influenced, but it's showing you the tidal influence that we're seeing on the St. Johns River and our estuary system right now. So in summary, Irma is expected to track along the west coast of Florida. Bit of uncertainty how much shear as it gets into the Cedar Key area, but it is forecast to be a strong Category 1 hurricane in that area with Category 2 wind gust. Again, the counties most under the gun there, we have meteorologists assigned to that area, and I'm going to let them handle that.